has seen an image in magic mirror of Ardgal, the knight who is destined to be her beloved. She has also been told by Merlin that England will one day be ruled by her descendant. Somewhere there are references and there are critics who say Britomart is also been supposed to be Queen Elizabeth herself, or rather Spencer tried to depict Britomart as Queen Elizabeth's view. Thus, Britomart is on a quest to find Ardgal, whom she has never met. Skilled in the art of battle, Britomart rescues the Red Cross Knight from a villain and goes on to rescue Amoret, a young bride and held prisoner in a castle. Here you can find, in those days, even in the Elizabethan age, you can find the frailty of a woman and at the same time the bravery of a woman. Here Britomart, she is skilled in the art of battle. On the other hand, Amoret, who is also a young bride, but then she is weak and fragile. Book 4 concerns the virtue of friendship, exemplified by the characters Campbell and Tremont. Critics have noted, however, that these two friends and the theme of friendship are not actually central to the action related in Book 4. Rather, the continued adventure of Britomart and other secondary characters occupy the central narrative of this book. The book has many characters and it has so much kind of ambiguous characters in it that each and every places or each and every cantos have many characters and at the same time many sub characters, because each and every traveling they might meet with some or another kind of people and they might be of some or another kind of help throughout their journey for the ultimate quest. Because you need to remember that this 12 or the whole knights, the whole concept of fairy queen was like the knights were supposed to go on a quest, means at the end they were supposed to achieve something on their way. So this is kind of an odyssey, a traveling of various kind of knights. And you may notice that in book 1 the you can find the Red Cross Knight was brave, and then gradually he's been helped by many people, and finally he appears again and again and again. And at the same time, King Arthur also appears to rescue in almost all the books. During a tournament, Britomart, disguised as a man, defeats the knight Ardgal. Later, Ardgal wins over Britomart in a fight, but when he discovers that she is a woman, the two fall immediately in love. This disguising scene is almost a very well kind of act almost all the plays, and at the same time in almost all the kind of epic plays. Here Britomart doesn't know who Ardgal is, but she is in search of Ardgal, and finally she happens to meet him in a kind of battle where she's been defeated. First he is being defeated and later Ardgal defeats her, but finally when he identifies that Britomart is not a male and in fact she is a female, they fell in love for each other. Ardgal is the hero of book 5, known as the Book of Justice. He sets out on a quest to rescue Irina from the villain Grantorto. In the course of his adventure, Ardgal is held captive by Radigund, a villainous Amazonian queen who is in love with him. When Britomart learns of his imprisonment, she rescues Ardgal by defeating Radigund in a fight and cutting off her head. Here itself, you can understand that Spencer is a master in analyzing the character. Being a male, he is able to portray several female feelings very nicely in his poem. Like you may know, Britomart is a kind of daring lady. On the other hand, Amoret is a weak lady. Here you can find Duisa. There are characters like Duisa. There are characters like Irina, who is again weak, and at the same time there are characters like Radigund, who is very vivacious, and at the same time they are beastly characters. Women's character explode in several triangles, you can say. In book 6, the hero Calidore demonstrates the virtue of courtesy. Calidore goes on a quest to subdue the blatant beast. Along the way, he falls in love with and becomes engaged to Pastorella, a shepherd girl. When Pastorella is abducted and held captive on an island by a band of outlaws, Calidor rescues her. He then goes on to subdue the blatant beast. The mutability cantos include two cantos of the critics, sometimes referred to as Book 7 too. But then it's the same canto, at times it is referred as Book 7. Again, now we need to remember, in each book you can find one warrior, a helping king or a helping warrior, and at the same time there might be some ladies who are in trouble and they are being held captive. That is like we have some kind of marvelic mystical magical essence as well is being given, and at the same time the glory of power, courage is also depicted with the help of different virtues of the knights. They all go, and the act of, or rather the kind of quest for which the knights are gonna go are for related to some kind of courtesies or some kind of virtues. The tale related in these cantos means the mutability cantos, concern the goddess mutability. Mutability is the need of change, who rebels against the rule of Jove, the ultimate god, and wreaks havoc. Havoc is disaster on the universe. For her offense, mutability is put on trial in a court over which the goddess nature presides as judge. During this trial, the status of mutability, that is the force of change in the universe, is debated among the gods. This is how you can see the original Fairy Queen book. It is written in this handwriting, though if you find it, it's the old English verse, but this was a kind of, this is the book, actual book, how it looks like. It's all about some or another kind of warrior's tale. The tale, sorry. Now we will talk about the characters. There are n number of characters given, all out of which the prime or the very much important characters are to be discussed right now. Arthur, the central hero of the poem, although he does not play the most significant role in its action, Arthur is in search of the fairy queen whom he saw in a vision. He, like Britomart, who sees Ardgirl in a vision, King Arthur is also in search of a fairy queen whom he sees in a vision. The real Arthur was a king of Britain in the 5th or 6th century, but the little historical information we have about him is overwhelmed by his legends. There are many stories of King Arthur, but it is actually been supposed that Arthur was the king of in the 5th or 6th century BC, or rather AD, sorry. Fairy Queen, another character, the main character, also known as Gloriana. Though she never appears in the poem, the Fairy Queen is the focus of the poem. Her castle is the ultimate goal or destination of many of the poem's characters. She represents Queen Elizabeth I. Now we know Queen, as I said, different knights are about to go for a quest, and the ultimate aim of the quest is they need to reach to the castle of Queen Gloriana, that is Queen Elizabeth. That is again the place where they are supposed to reach is England itself. Thereby Spenser's intention that he wants to glorify England would be sufficed. And again the person who is helping each and every warrior is King Arthur. Thereby in his dream, that is one expected in book 12, as he was supposed, like King Arthur and Gloriana were supposed to get married. That would have been done. The plot was going accordingly, but unfortunately he was not able to complete the whole poem. This is King Arthur's vision. In his dream, he finds a fairy queen, though it is a bit unclear, but here you can find King Arthur who is in a nap and he has a vision of Queen Gloriana. The Fairy Queen owes in part its central figure Arthur to a medieval writer Geoffrey of Monmouth. In his Propti Merlini, Prophecies of Merlin, Geoffrey's Merlin proclaims that the Saxons will rule over Britain until the Boar of Cornwall is Arthur himself, again restore them to their rightful place as rulers. The prophecy was adopted by the British people and eventually used by the Tudors. Through their ancestor, Owen Tudor, the Tudor had Welsh blood through which they reclaimed to be descendant of Arthur and rightful ruler of Britain. The tradition began by Geoffrey of Monmouth set the perfect atmosphere for Spenser's choice of Arthur as the central figure and the natural bridegroom of Gloriana. Because if you know about get a glimpse of history, you may be knowing that Saxons, after the other warriors, were prominent in war, and it was expected that Saxons are supposed to rule England, but unfortunately, it was the Tudors who came and achieved the throne. Thus, Arthur was the right throne or the right bridegroom as expected, or rather as been said, proclaimed by the Geoffrey of Monmouth, which set the plane or which set the instinct for Spenser to feel like our King Arthur can be the right bridegroom for Queen Gloriana. Then we have Red Cross. Red Cross is the knight. The Red Cross Knight is the hero of Book 1. He stands for the virtue of holiness. His real name is discovered to be George, and he ends up becoming Saint George, the patron saint of England. Saint George, the patron saint of England, that is, he achieved holiness because he had Una with him, which symbolizes or who symbolizes truth. Like that means when he achieves truth, when he is on his path of truth, he could achieve holiness, and then he became Saint George, the patron saint of England. Another level, though, he is the individual Christian fighting against evil or the Protestant fighting the Catholic Church. As I told earlier, England was divided into two categories, two Christians, that is, the first one was the Protestant Christians and the second was the Catholic Christians. And if you read more of history, you can understand that there was great rivalry even in the church, because even about the Bible, it was being said the Catholics were using a different version of Bible and the Protestants were expecting to go for a different version of Bible. There, even in the church, they had huge rivalry, and the priests or the bishops were also confused what exactly can be done so that the Christians may not be diversified. And that was the time when Spenser was living, and that is the reason why he is trying to uphold the virtue of holiness, that the person or the Christian who believes in truth and who believes in virtues of holiness can achieve Christian virtues or can be one with God. That many evils or many distractions can be there on the path, but the real Christian is the one who would fight against all the evils and then finally triumph. Una, as been said, Red Cross Knight's future wife. By the end of book 1, she gets married to the knight. She is meek, humble and beautiful, but strong when it is necessary. She represents truth, which Red Cross must find in order to be a true Christian. Duisa, the opposite of Una. She represents falsehood and nearly succeeds in getting Red Cross to leave Una for good. She appears beautiful, but then it is only skin deep. Now this is what is being said always, that appearance may always be deceptive. This virtue or this line has been taken by Spenser even to represent two female or feminine qualities. From Una, you can find that she is true within, deep within, and outside she is beautiful as much as she is beautiful inside. But Duisa, on the other hand, she is full of faults, she is full of evil in her mind, but on the other hand, she is very beautiful outside. appearance decept, and that is the reason why it is always been said like evil attracts more rather than good. Duisa is an example. Archmago, next to Duisa, a major antagonist in Book 1. Archmago is a sorcerer capable of changing his own appearance or that of others. In the end, his magic is proven weak and ineffective. Just like the serpent who was able enough to change his own appearance and try to appear, the Satan who was trying to change his own appearance and turned into a serpent to seduce Eve. Likewise, Archmago is also a sorcerer who was able enough to seduce by changing his own appearance and do whatever kind of misheld or mishappenings he was expecting to do. Means these are the evil forces. Evil forces are almost always expected to be very strong because they have a great influence on human mind. Amoret, the wife of Skundamore, kidnapped by Busiran on her wedding night, saved by Britomart. She represents the virtue of married love, and her marriage to Skundamore serves as the example that Britomart and Ardgal seems to copy. Amoret and Skundamore are separated for a time by circumstance but remain loyal to one another until they are united. Here, Amurit, as I told earlier, is weak and fragile, but on the other hand, the love for her husband or the love for Skundamore was so deep that that could not be erased even when she was captivated and she was held in prison. When Britomart tries to save her, that symbolically shows like Britomart should understand how Amurit was having the love for Skundamore, which she needs to follow and she needs to understand and she needs to put forth that kind of love for Ardgal. Means the kind of true chastity, the kind of love which a wife and husband should